Hi, my name is Kassakhian, and joining me right now is Glendale's newly elected City Council member, Ardy. We'll be talking about the coronavirus and what the City of Glendale is providing residents at this time. Mr. Kassakhian, thank you very much for coming to this program.
I want to thank you, Vacha, for asking me some questions regarding the current pandemic, the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic.
So my first question is, what are some things people can do and what are some things people cannot do during the safer at home time? Because everybody's at home right now. So what are some things they can do and what are some things they can't do?
That's a very good question. Obviously, we've all been ordered to stay home. That's where I'm coming to you from. This is my office at my house, and I have not left the house unless it's to go grocery shopping on limited occasions. Once or twice I actually did have to go in to City Hall, but when I did, I made sure that I was wearing gloves, I was wearing a mask. Some folks that maybe have visited my Facebook page saw a photo of me taking my oath of office, wearing a mask, or signing my oath of office, wearing a face mask and gloves. I actually took my oath of office, raising my right hand like this, from right here sitting, and from the exact same spot where I'm speaking to you now. But let's go over some of the things that you can do. First of all, you can go grocery and shopping. You can go to a convenience store, warehouse, pharmacy, any place. At the pharmacy, if you need to pick up medication or healthcare necessities, that's absolutely allowable. Now, if you do go to these places, I recommend that you maintain social distancing. And what we mean by social distancing is that you stay at least at least 6 feet apart. Think of it as 2 yardsticks. You want to give enough space between you and someone who may potentially be sick and be carrying the virus. You can go to a medical appointment. If you have an appointment with a doctor, you should call your provider, because not all doctors' offices are currently operating, and some of the resources are being diverted to addressing this pandemic. But call your doctor, and if you have a doctor's appointment, by all means, you definitely can go to the doctor. Now, obviously, one place we can't go, it's not essential, is to the barber. From this mane that I'm growing, and I personally have decided not to shave for the duration of this until I can actually leave the house, although it is getting a little itchy. I may shave this week. You can go to a restaurant to pick up takeout or delivery, although most places are now doing delivery, so I recommend that you check first. And when the food comes, a lot of places are offering this no contact drop off where you can make payment over the phone by credit card or debit card, and that way you don't have to interact with the driver or delivery person. And you can also go someplace if you need to provide care for and support for a friend or a family member. Now, that doesn't mean that your cousins, in-laws are your close family. This means your immediate close family. It could possibly be a grandparent, although I'm urging everyone who's young, who could possibly carry the virus to other people, to not do so. Because even though you may not be feeling the symptoms, you could easily be transmitting the virus to someone who could have a really bad reaction to this. That's the one thing about this virus, is that it's really uncertain how it hits different people. Now, we've heard that doesn't affect young people, but most people who are getting sick are young people. They're younger, on the younger side, but the people who are getting it worse, who are having the most difficult time overcoming it, are people who are elderly and people with underlying health issues. Now, what else can you do? You can also take a walk. You can ride your bike. If you need to jog or be in nature, just make sure that you're keeping at least 6 feet away from someone. Now, keep in mind, most trails are closed. In fact, all trails in Glendale are closed, as well as our parks. So most of the parks facilities are closed, but you can still find time to walk around your house, your block. Just make sure that if you see someone, you maintain that 6 feet distance. You can walk your pet. If you have a pet, you can take them to the veterinarian if you need to. And most importantly, if someone like a neighbor or someone close to you needs help getting supplies and they can't get to the store, you can go, although I also recommend that you contact the city, because we have a hotline by which we're helping the seniors. You can call 818-548-4844. That's the city manager's office. That's the council office, and someone there can direct you to the services that will help seniors who are homebound and who can't go grocery shopping. Now, let me give you a brief list of things you can't do. You shouldn't go to work unless you are providing essential services as defined by this order. And you can find the order on the Los Angeles County website, as well as on the city's website. You can find a link to it. If you just go to glendaleca.gov, and I know that a lot of you young people are smarter than some of your parents, so go on there and find out about it. And then be sure to send it to your parents. I think that'll be helpful. You can, or share the information that you read with your parents. You should not visit friends and family if there's no urgent need. So just because your friend's calling you over and they're bored, doesn't mean you need to go and visit them. I have a feeling most of you are pretty internet savvy as if you're watching this interview, and can communicate with each other regardless. I know, people your age are probably communicating with each other through video games even. So I'm not too worried about that, but I know it's difficult to stay away from friends, people that you care about. Just, hang in there. We're taking this 2 weeks at a time. This week is going to be one of the most difficult weeks. They say this is when the infection rate will be at its peak. So please, please, please stay at home. And don't maintain less than 6 feet. Always keep that social distancing. Don't leave the city if you don't have to. Do not get in your car and take a long drive. I know it could be frustrating, but you should not be doing anything. In fact, this is hard on your parents as well. And if you live with your grandparents, trust me, they're afraid as well. So just, be there for them, support them, be kind to them. You shouldn't be taking vacations. I know that most of you may be in spring break or about to be on spring break. Now is the time to just stay home and focus on family. And also don't visit loved ones in the nursing homes or the hospital, a skilled nursing facility, or other one of these supervised residential care facilities. You don't know what germs you could be carrying in, and people at those places are very, very susceptible to this flu. Lastly, I think it's important to note, don't go to the beach. We saw pictures in Florida, we saw them here in Malibu in California, of people ignoring this virus's pandemic stay-at-home order and hanging out at the beach like there was no problem, there was no issue. I would say you need to stay at home. Don't go to the beach. Don't do anything that requires you to leave your home. Grab a book. Go online. I don't know. Do homework. Get ahead in some of your classes. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but I have a feeling most of you will find ways to keep yourselves occupied.
Thank you very much. So my second question is, what are some resources that the city of Glendale is providing to residents at this time?
So one of the things the city has done is initiated a rent increase freeze. So no landlord can increase the rent on people during this pandemic. In addition to that, landlords can't evict someone. They can't for not paying their rent if their non-payment is associated with the COVID-19 virus. Now, even without that, most places throughout the state have an eviction moratorium, which means that if you're not able to pay your rent because you're staying at home and you can't pay, you do not have income, maybe your hours have been reduced, maybe you've been furloughed or laid off, your landlord can't get rid of you, can't tell you because you haven't paid your rent, you have to leave. So this is for the duration of this state of emergency order that we've put out there. There's also resources out there to help small businesses. The city of Glendale is working with the county, with the Small Business Administration as well, the SBA. For those who are inquiring about these, you can go to the county's website, LA County Registrar Recorder's website, if you just Google that, or you could just go to glendaleca.gov, and there's some information that'll point you to the right direction. Other things that we're considering doing is I would like to see the city's utilities pitch in and try to help residents as well by offering some sort of discount or reduced rate. It's obviously very difficult for people who are staying home nowadays and can't participate or can't actively go out and do what they can to make a living. I mean, the economy is the one thing that is going to be this is going to take the longest to recover from this. So for that reason, I think that we need to give our residents a break as well. In addition to that, I mentioned that the city will provide services to seniors and other people who are disabled or homebound or for any other reason cannot go out and get supplies. So if it's toilet paper, paper towels, you name it, water, and you're stuck at home and you can't find a way to make it to the grocery store, you should contact our city, and with the help of our fire department and a whole army of volunteers, we're trying to get help out to folks. If you see someone having a party, by the way, or having a huge gathering, and you're wondering to yourself, why is my neighbor having 60 people over even 10 people over when we've all been ordered to stay home? Do let the city know. You can call anonymously. You don't have to say who you are, but you can give your address or give the address of the location, and we'll make sure that police go out there and warn people about the health dangers and the risk that they're putting others at by having these gatherings.
Thank you very much. So my third question is, are there any coronavirus testing locations in the city of Glendale where people could go and get tested?
And the answer is yes. The county has just announced that there is testing available at Glendale Memorial Hospital. That's Dignity Glendale or Dignity Health Glendale, the old Glendale Memorial in South Glendale on the corner of Los Feliz or Los Feliz and Brand or Central. It's right there between Brand and Central on Los Feliz, and there will be testing available. However, it's only available to people who are age 65 and older. They are testing those individuals who are highest at risk. Now, if you think you have symptoms, if you say, I'm feeling shortness of breath, it's not anxiety because I have a fever, had a dry cough, I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling run down. First thing you ought to do is call your primary health care provider. Your primary health care provider, you ask who that is. Well, that's your doctor. That's who you would go to for any other issue that you may be having. So call your doctor and say, this is what I'm experiencing. Can you please let me know what I should do next? Based on what your doctor says, then you may need to get tested. But again, right now, currently, because the number of tests for the coronavirus, for the COVID-19 are limited, they are limiting testing to only those individuals who are highest at risk. And part of the reason for that is, we hear about the flattening of this curve. We have this curve of sickness and we want to flatten it out. It goes up like this. We want to make it smoother. Keep in mind, for those of you who are studying geometry, algebra, advanced algebra, or calculus, the areas of the curves are the same. What we're trying to do is limit the overwhelming or try to control how our healthcare system will be overwhelmed. There's only so many ventilators. At the worst case scenario of this virus, it affects people's respiratory system. If people have trouble breathing and they're forced to be put on ventilators, that is a machine that helps you breathe. It makes you breathe, actually. And the issue is you have to potentially be on it for about 2 weeks if you're an extreme case and it's hit you really hard. Now, there's only so many of those to go around, and without as many ventilators, we don't want to have everyone, storm the hospitals asking for help, because in a situation like that, tough choices are going to have to be made and not everyone gets a ventilator. So we want to make sure that we have a slow and steady and measured approach by controlling the amount of people's interaction. The vast majority of people who have gotten this have not had it, have had mild symptoms. Some people haven't had or felt any symptoms, and yet they've had the coronavirus, they've had COVID-19, which is why I urge you all to be careful, stay at home. If you do leave your house, try to wear a mask or cover your face. That's going to be required of everyone. You can put on a scarf. You can put on a surgical mask. You can make that one of the projects. Staying at home, make some for yourself and your family. Lastly, if you have gloves, try to use gloves. Most importantly, wash your hands.
Thank you very much. My last question is there any website where people can visit to find more information and more updates about the coronavirus for City of Glendale residents?
Of course, you can go to glendaleca.gov, and right now the city's website has been changed. So the first thing you see when you go to the webpage is all of this information on the coronavirus and how to basically find out more about it. The updates, confronting COVID-19 is what you'll see. We've had 142 cases so far in Glendale. That number is going to go up. We've only had 2 deaths, and at least one of those was someone who was over the age of 65 and already had underlying issues. Like any flu or cold, if you're really sick, it's usually not a good idea to visit the elderly because, their immune systems are weaker. But we're seeing how this is also affecting those individuals who have other respiratory problems. Now, here's a public service announcement. Now's the time to quit vaping. If you're vaping, which you should not be, or smoking, it's going to weaken your lungs. It's going to make it more difficult for you to fight off this terrible flu-type disease, this coronavirus. And again, the 142 cases in Glendale, we don't know necessarily who they are because of federal law and other regulations. The private information of the patients is private. We can't know where they are other than the fact that they're Glendale residents. Now, I can tell you that if everyone does what they're supposed to do, we'll make it through this no problem, and we'll make it through together. This is not easy, I know, especially on young people. Listen, I have a young 5-year-old. Keeping him entertained has been challenging. There's only so many times we can watch Star Wars or Lego movies, but yet, we all have to be creative. I am trying to work as hard as I can to keep information up to date. If you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram, usually on Facebook, I try to post a video every once in a while where I give other updates. And the city's website, again, is a great resource. But also go to the county's website. The Center for Disease Control will also give you a global picture and tell you what's happening around the world, as well as if any of you have relatives in Latin America, in Mexico, in Armenia, Korea, or in other places that have been affected, the Philippines. You will be able to find out more information globally as to what's going on. And read the news. Make sure that if you're getting news, if you're seeing something online, if you're seeing something on Facebook, that you double check your source of information. That is very, very critical. Make sure if you're reposting something that you know that it's a verifiable source, that's accurate, that it's from either LA Times or New York Times or CNN. I mean, even if you want to, you can go to Fox News, although I would suggest that whatever you do, always double check it against other sources. And with that, I'm always available for questions. You can reach me at Kassakhian, AKASSAKHIAN, at glendaleca.gov. It is my honor and privilege to represent you. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person once this is all over. And remember, stay in school, study hard, which in your case right now just means stay at home. And make sure you do your homework and try to be nice to your parents. This is stressful on all of us. So thank you very much, and look forward to chatting with you guys in the future. Bye.
Once again, a reminder, my guest for today was Glendale's newly elected City Council member, Ardy Kassakhian. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Have a good day.